Today I'll be sharing my honest feedback and first impressions on 6 Middle Eastern fragrances. These are fragrances that are relatively well known online. Some of them have even gone viral, but these are fragrances that I was quite curious about. I wanted to share with you my thoughts, and if you're interested, definitely do keep on watching. But if this is your first time on this channel, hello, my name is Anya. I absolutely love fragrances. I talk about them here every single weekday, Monday through Friday. I also post additional content on TikTok and Instagram under the username anechkafragrances. And if you are interested in fragrance history, I actually do run a podcast. It's called The Fragrance Report, and on that podcast I essentially talk about fragrance history among some other fragrance related things. So if you're interested in podcasts, do check it out on Spotify, and I also publish an episode of the podcast here every single Wednesday on YouTube as well. As many of you already know, I have launched a comprehensive fragrance collection and budget tracker. This tracker is designed to help you track what's in your collection, how much you're spending, the fragrance notes that you have, the brands that you have, all in one easy to use spreadsheet. So if you're interested, that is available on my Stan store. You can check it out down below. So with that being said, we have a lot to cover this video, so let's get into it. The first fragrance is a pretty new release from Paris Corner. This is called Vu Zest, and this is a fragrance that has a bottle that looks suspiciously like another really popular high-end niche brand that you guys might already know about. And when you read the notes, that similarity is definitely not lost on me, because we have top notes of blood orange, bergamot, and lavender, a mid of cinnamon and jasmine, and then a base of vanilla, caramel, and musk. As soon as I smelled it, I could get that kind of caramelized cheesecake accord that is also present in Lyra. This is really, really pretty. I would say if you're looking to kind of like mimic that caramelized cheesecake accord, this could really be a great one for you. It's really, really pretty. All the fragrance notes are beautifully blended. I don't smell like anything scratchy. It just smells like a really pretty gourmand. It's very reminiscent of Lyra by Xerjoff. I like it. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a full bottle though. And by the way, at the end, I'll tell you which fragrances really stood out to me and which fragrances are going on my full bottle wish list, because if you're unaware, I actually do have decants and samples of all these fragrances. I do that for like my reviews when I talk about like these popular Middle Eastern fragrances, because there's so many of them that even if I'm reviewing them, I don't want to just like mindlessly buy them just for one video. So I like to try the decants, I like to try the samples, and then tell you what I think, and then move on from there and like see if I can get a full bottle of the ones I really, really love. So this one is a strong like, but the only reason it's not a love is because for me personally, like where I'm at right now, I'm not like super drawn to like the cheesecake Lyra kind of type fragrance. But I can say that if I did have this fragrance on my wish list already, I would definitely consider this as a budget-friendly alternative. So this is really, really pretty. Next, I have a perfume that I was very curious about because I saw the bottle and it looked absolutely beautiful. This is called Fairy Tale by the brand AMB, and it smells rather lovely. So this fragrance is a perfume with top notes of pink pepper, green apple, and bergamot, a mid of cashmere wood, iris, and patchouli, and then a base of tonka bean, amberwood, and vetiver. This is lovely. It kind of leans a little bit vintage smelling. Okay, so full stop. So in my personal opinion, I think this kind of leans a little bit vintage smelling, and I think it's the combination of iris, patchouli, and the bergamot. Something about that combination, the way it's executed here, reminds me of a vintage smelling perfume. It's not like overtly vintage, but I can kind of like see those nuances that remind me of some of my vintage perfumes, which is not necessarily bad. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. I do kind of like that. It's really pretty. The apple isn't like too over, but you can definitely pick it out. It's very like focused on like that kind of clean powderiness with some florals. I wouldn't call this a sweet fragrance in the traditional contemporary sense. I kind of see this as slightly a vintage inspired fragrance. So think about like how vintage fragrances sometimes smell sweet, but they smell sweet in a specific way, in like a vintage way. This is what I'm getting. I know like my explanations are a little bit abstract when it comes to this particular fragrance, but I'm trying to like tell you like how I think it smells, and that's kind of what I'm getting. So I like it. I don't know if I'd buy it. This is actually, let me backtrack. This is probably a fragrance that I would really be drawn to if it was colder, but now it's getting warmer outside. I feel like this is kind of like the dark, kind of like edgier, powdery fragrance that would be ideal for the cold weather. Kind of like a standoffish, powdery fragrance that's, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I like it. I don't necessarily love it. I think it would really be beautiful for... It's interesting because the more I smell it, the more the green apple starts to come through. But it's definitely not like a sweet Jolly Rancher type green apple, which you might be thinking of. It's like literally like a photorealistic green apple with the skin on. Yeah, it's an interesting one, for sure. I like it. I don't love it for the reasons I already mentioned. It's nice. That's just my own personal preference. I don't think it smells bad, but it's not like enough for me to want to get a full size of it. And I feel like I would appreciate this a lot more if it was a little bit colder outside. Right now it's still cold, but it's getting warm rather quickly. So this is not going to be a full bottle for me, but if you like the description I just gave, this might be for you. Alright, so next up we have Azur Fantasy by Orientica. The bottle on this looks phenomenal. I will say that the bottle looks amazing. All the Orientica bottles look rather lovely in my opinion. But this is a fragrance that's supposed to be for a unisex audience, and this has top notes of bergamot, ginger, mint, and nutmeg, a mid of lily of the valley, geranium, and jasmine, and then a base of musk, ambergris, and gaiac wood. I really like this. It's really, really pretty. Like, all the notes are pretty well blended together. This is giving kind of, apparently, according to Fragrantica, this is supposed to kind of smell similar to Imagination by Louis Vuitton, but that appears to be like hotly contended. So some people are saying it does, some people are saying it doesn't. I have not smelled that fragrance in recent memory, so I can't really speak to that comparison. But I will say this is an aquatic fragrance, soft, spicy. It smells rather delicious. Yeah. I would say like this is the kind of fragrance that I would definitely get for a guy. This is a good fragrance. I think a woman could wear this as well. Like if you love like the notes I just listed, if you love like more aquatic notes, if you appreciate like ginger, bergamot, marina chords, stuff like that, this could be really good for you. The florals here are sweet but not too sweet. This is just like a really pretty kind of summery fragrance. Specifically for the summertime, I think this is the ideal time for this perfume. I mean, as we're getting into the summertime. It's good. It's versatile. I like it a lot. This is probably not going to be something I'm going to get because it kind of reminds me of Acqua di Giua by Armani. I mean, Acqua di Giua, in my opinion, I can tell you right off the top of my head, that one I don't believe has any ginger, and that one is a lot more soapy. But I think for the purposes of like what this fragrance is trying to convey, if I want to go for this kind of thing, I can just go for that because it's not often that I go for aquatic fragrances. Like aquatic, minty, kind of like fragrances like this. So if I do want to go for that kind of fragrance, that's the fragrance I go for in my collection. So as a result, I don't think I'll be getting a full bottle of this, but I do like the way it smells. I feel like I'd really appreciate this on a guy. So yeah, there you go. Orientica exclusive Azur Fantasy. So the bottle looks beautiful. Okay, so next up I have Signature White by Fragrance World. This is one that I smelled it and I was like, it's giving guidance. It's giving guidance, and I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks like this, but I'm looking at the fragrance pyramid and there is hazelnut and pink pepper and a sandalwood base, so perhaps, but this has top notes of frankincense, hazelnut, mango, and melon, and pink pepper, a heart of coconut, jasmine, osmanthus, and rose, and then a base of ambergris, labdanum, sandalwood, and white musk. Let me get this fragrance's opening. Yeah, I think in the opening, I get more of like that fruitiness, but the kind of like guidance nuance definitely comes through in the dry down. It's not like sharp like guidance is. It's softer. It's nice. It's nice. I like this one a lot. So Fragrance World Signature White. It's pretty. It's very subtle though. So if you're looking for kind of subtle, this is gonna be that. It's definitely not a powerhouse in my opinion. It's nice. It's pleasant. So there you go. Next up is a new one by French Avenue. This is Coconut Leche by Fragrance World. This is a powdery coconut fragrance. It's really, really pretty. It smells like an expensive lotion. So this has notes of coconut at the top, a heart of tuberose, and then a base of vanilla and benzoin. It's really pretty. If you're looking for coconut, this is a really good contender in my personal opinion. On the other hand, I don't really like coconut. Okay, here's the thing. As you guys probably have already noticed this with certain notes, I go through like phases of being like, I'm not really into that note, or I'm not really into this specific accord or this specific concept. I go through phases like that. Sometimes I change my mind. For example, I was in like a phase of not liking mango for a really long time because to my mind, like so many fragrance brands were putting out like the same kind of like mango accord in all their fragrances, and I just did not like that. So I was a mango hater for a really long time. The last few fragrances that I've been loving all have mango in them. So I keep an open mind. That's what I'm trying to get at. Right now, one of the notes that I'm kind of like about is coconut. That's just a matter of opinion. I can wear what I wear. I can like what I like. I can like what I can not like what I not like. You know what I mean? So in this particular case, coconut is not on the love list from me. But if you're looking for coconut, I would say this is a pretty solid contender. It's giving rich vanilla coconut, like definitely vanilla, definitely sweet. It's not like a watery coconut milk thing at all. It's a rich coconut flavor with vanilla. So it's really pretty. It's giving fancy body lotion. It's really pretty. So anyway, Coconut Leche by French Avenue. I don't know if I said French Avenue or Fragrance World, but this is French Avenue. It's nice. Next, I have Ban Al Azrar by Paris Corner. If I'm mispronouncing any names here, I do apologize. But this is a fragrance that I actually had a 5 milliliter decant of. To be honest, I went to Miami, I think it was a few months ago at this point, and I completely blew through my decant, and I was like, you know what, I want another decant of this, because this smells very much like Guidance, but there are key differences, and I'm going to get into that. But this has top notes of pear, hazelnuts, and olibanum, a mid of rose, osmanthus, jasmine, and saffron, and then a base of sandalwood, labdanum, vanilla, ambergris, and akigala wood. Okay, so here's my thing with this fragrance. I really, really like it. I've considered getting a full bottle for quite some time now, and I honestly think I will after I get through this. But I wanted to kind of comment on the similarities with Guidance. And I think this also applies to the fragrance that I mentioned at the beginning of this video when I talked about like the kind of Lyra alternative by Fragrance World. I don't know. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So what I found with dupes or with alternatives, right, is a lot of these fragrances will smell similar to what you're trying to get. Like, a lot of these fragrances will smell similar to the more expensive version, but a lot of the times the performance is going to be different. Or there'll be some key differences that you can identify if you smell them side by side. I think I was at a panel a few months ago with a lot of like power players in the industry, and they were talking about this whole concept of dupes. And one of the perfumers brought up a really good point. He said that sometimes if you can create a fragrance that smells similar to another fragrance, but the experience will be different, the performance will be different, the quality of the ingredients might be different. So that is something that I've really noticed with a lot of fragrance dupes. They might smell similar, but the experience will be different. So when it comes to Guidance, for instance, by Amouage, that is a perfume that has a really recognizable accord. You can smell that and you will very much recognize it if you smell it again. And there are a few fragrances that I've tried to dupe Guidance, and you can definitely see the similarities like in in the initial spritz, or even as it dries down, you can see the similarities, but the performance is going to be completely different, because the thing about Guidance is that you spray it once, and then the sillage is phenomenal. People will be able to smell you from like down the street. I mean, maybe not, but like I've definitely walked past people, like this is especially in New York when I've gone there, I've walked past people and I'm like, I know they're wearing Guidance because I can smell it on them. And the sillage is something that you can't really replicate. Like this is nice, it's giving like the Guidance look, it's giving the Guidance smell somewhat, but it's definitely not like a side-by-side, like completely 100% dupe. Like, it's not like a completely like side-by-side dupe, and to be honest, most dupes are not going to be. In fact, like you can definitely tell differences. But for me, like if I, as someone who occasionally like craves that kind of Guidance smell, this is something that works. But I still do want to get like the actual bottle of Guidance one day, because I haven't found any fragrance that comes close to completely like 100% imitating it. And to be honest, I don't really need to find that. Like, I'm not actively looking for that. But what I was looking for was something that kind of had a similar scent to it, that kind of like had that unique quality that Guidance has. And that's what I wanted with this fragrance, and that's what I got. So I like this a lot. It's kind of like a modern performer. It's not going to perform the same way as Guidance at all. But if you're like me and you're looking to kind of like get that scent, this could be really good. So yeah, I really like Guidance. I want to get it one day. I might get this full bottle, but like Guidance is one of those perfumes that's like expensive, but it's expensive for a reason. Like Amouage is like the top tier, one of the best fragrance houses on the planet, and yeah, their prices do reflect that. But sometimes it's pays to kind of like wait a little bit to get something until it makes sense and until like it's financially feasible. In this case, I'm gonna hold off for now, but until then, I have this alternative, and I also might get a full bottle of this at some point. As soon as I'm done with this. Alright, so that's it for this video. I would say the fragrance that I would definitely get the full-size bottle of at some point would be the last fragrance I talked about, the Bayn Azur fragrance. But let me know, are there any fragrances that are in this video that stood out to you? Is there anything that you're interested in trying? Have you tried any of these fragrances? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.